Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. The Arsenal transfer drama continues this summer as another player has snapped a move to Arsenal and chosen FC Barcelona. That player is Nico Williams, and now the Athletic are reporting that Arsenal have cooled their interest in Nico and they're looking at alternatives. The big question is, where do we go from here? Mikel Arteta is a big fan of Nico Williams, and we have waited for Nico for 2 summers. We've waited for him for almost 2 years, and eventually we don't get the deal done. What happens next? Who is the next player in line? And I mean, why are so many players actually turning us down? Dean Huijsen rejected, Brian Mbeumo rejected, Nico Williams rejected. All of these guys rejected a move to Arsenal. Is it because of the season that we have just had that has been quite underwhelming? Is it the lack of ambition that is being communicated by the club? What is happening? We have a very good project, that is the truth, but if Brian Mbeumo is rejecting us for Manchester United and Nico Williams is rejecting us for FC Barcelona, and Dean Huijsen is rejecting us for Real Madrid, the clubs that we want to compete with, then there is a big problem. But let's start off with the Nico Williams story. The Athletic have actually reported that Nico Williams has turned down a move to Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Arsenal in favor for a move to FC Barcelona. Now, Arsenal are willing to pay him 9 million net in terms of wages per year. That is a lot of money. But he said, no, I don't want to stay. I don't want to come to the Premier League. I don't want to come to London. I don't want to play for Arsenal. I actually want to play for FC Barcelona. And of course, the likes of Bayern, the likes of Chelsea have all been willing to give him big wages. But he's actually decided to go for Barca. Cheaper wages. They're going to pay him a little bit less, but he's decided to go there. And I think there is something very important that we've got to talk about when it comes to Arsenal and transfers. We like signing the player. We like going for the player that seemingly doesn't want us. We like going to the player that seemingly has other plans. He wants to play for another club. He wants to go for another team. That is the player Arsenal always want. Now, listen, we are a big club, and we're always going to want big players. And of course, big players have a lot of competition. But for me, there is a difference between you wanting a player who doesn't want to play for you and you wanting a player that is wanted and chased by other teams. The example is Alexander Isak. I mean, Isak is a big talent. He's a good player. And so many clubs want Alexander Isak, right? So if Arsenal, Liverpool, maybe Chelsea, and maybe Madrid are all looking at Alexander Isak, and Isak chooses one of those, that's okay. I mean, he chose the other club, but we all had a chance to sign him. But for Nico Williams, it has always felt his number one priority is to go to Barcelona. And then if that doesn't happen, his second priority would be staying at Atletico Bilbao. And if the worst goes to the worst, then he maybe goes to another club. We are not even sure if that club is Arsenal. And I think we just wasted a whole summer last summer because we didn't sign a number 9. We didn't sign any good player in any good position last summer. We could have signed a left winger. We could have upgraded one of our flanks. Either a backup to Bukayo Saka would have been a very good signing, or a very good left winger would have been a very good signing as well. But we chose to wait for Nico Williams. In the end, Arsenal will not sign Nico Williams. So why did we again waste a whole summer waiting for Nico Williams? Even in January, we could have done Kvaratskhelia. But no, Mikel Arteta was waiting for Nico Williams. And we knew he wanted Barca. We knew that signing for Arsenal was not among his priorities. I think we've got to learn from this because it's filled up our history. It is full of our history that Arsenal will chase a player for a whole year or for 2 years, and that player doesn't want to sign for us. Thomas Lemar is one of them, and a couple of others. I think Lacazette as well never wanted to play for Arsenal, never wanted to come to Arsenal. I think his first priority was Atletico Madrid or any other club, and then a deal broke down, and Arsenal, that's how we get him. I think we need to stop chasing players that don't have any intentions of signing for us, and then go for players that maybe, right, even if they are not crazy about playing for Arsenal, they have a clue they would be at Arsenal. Well, so what next? What's happening? First and foremost, we're now looking at alternatives. Our interest in the player has actually cooled down. And according to The Athletic, they're saying that Anthony Gordon and Rodrigo, those are the two players that Arsenal are looking at, but there is a fear they would cost too much. Now, that is where the problem is again. If you're not willing to splash 80 million, that is either euros or pounds, you're not getting Gordon, in my opinion. You're not getting Rodrigo. For Rodrigo, it's going to be about 80 million pounds. For Gordon, about 80 million euros. That's about 67 million pounds, closer to 70 million pounds. 70 million pounds, yeah. And the Athletic is saying that Arsenal are looking at these two deals and they're quite expensive. They might not happen because they're quite expensive. They might command a big fee. And the question I was asking myself when I was looking at this was, why do we have three players that have very complicated financial structures and financial deals as the top priorities for the left-wing position? Well, the answer is easy. We want an upgrade to Martinelli and Trossard. And for you to get that upgrade, you're going to have to spend some good money. Gordon would be an upgrade. Rodrigo would be an upgrade. And Nico Williams would be an upgrade. Nico is a little bit cheaper, but the financial package, the financial structure of the deal is a little bit crazy. So what I think here is either we walk away quickly from this Gordon deal, establish whether Newcastle want to sell. My thinking is that they won't want to sell. And then establish whether Rodrigo wants to move and whether Madrid are willing to sell. If those two deals are not doable at the moment, can we walk away? Absolutely, there is no shame in Newcastle saying, we don't want to sell. We don't want to sell to you. There's no shame in Madrid saying we're not selling. And there's no shame in Nico saying, I want to play for Barca for the second year successively. It's actually an honor. And these are the options now we have. I've seen something on Bakayoko at PSV. He was linked with us last summer. I don't know whether he's fallen off as a player, but he would be a very good player in terms of backing up Bukayo Saka. Mohamed Kudus would be my choice if we don't get any of Gordon and Rodrigo and Nico Williams. Premier League proven, scores goals, has got that burst of pace, can carry as well. He's elite. So I would go for Mohamed Kudus. Anton Semenyo would be expensive as well, wouldn't he? I think Bournemouth, if they sell Ilya Zavani, and they also sell Milos Karkas, they have already sold Dean Huijsen, and they have lost Kepa. I don't expect them to sell more players, right? So I could see Semenyo stay at Bournemouth next season. So Semenyo, Kudus, and Bakayoko. Those are the options. And I think the easier one is Bakayoko. The price is right. He's in the right age. I mean, backs up Saka, backs up Martinelli, good deal. The right one for me would be Mohamed Kudus. I think it's a step up. It's a bit of a step up. If Mohamed Kudus, walks into this Arsenal team, he starts every single week. I think he raises the quality a bit, and depending on the striker that we actually bring in, he might actually make us an elite front three. For example, if it is Kudus, Gyökeres, and Saka, that's elite. But if it's Kudus, Šeško, and Saka, that has doubts. Because I think Kudus needs another year giving us elite numbers. Gyökeres, already elite numbers. Šeško needs 2 years to give us elite numbers or to prove to us that he can give us elite numbers, and Saka is elite. So the winger situation is changing as well, as now we are no longer looking at Nico. We are looking at other targets. Who do you want? Who do you think is going to be? Let me know.